Hello, welcome to Liberty Man. My name is Libertas, that is Latin for Liberty Man. And we're going to look at something called the National Monument to the Forefathers. It's going to take quite a few recordings in this series to get through the whole thing because it's so massive. But one of the things that we don't know about is this monument right here. And I'm going to take you to our website and show you. And this is our website here, Liberty Man. It's time to stand. But it's the National Monument to the Forefathers. This is also called the Matrix of Liberty. Everything that was encompassed in what the Pilgrim Fathers accomplished at Plymouth, there's a monument here, and it's called the National Monument to the Forefathers, as you see. It's on top of a hill in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Each of these statues represents the 5 keys to the matrix. And if we can just imitate these 5 keys and principles, then we'll be able to understand what America really is. And our main problem is we have not been taught anything about American history and our development as the greatest country in the history of the world. We're clueless on what we actually have and what we're supposed to be teaching our kids in first grade. So with this matrix, we're going to start with this part of it right here. And this is the dedication plaque, which is this one right here. And it says, the National Monument to the Forefathers, erected by a grateful people in remembrance of their labors, sacrifices, and sufferings for the cause of civil and religious liberty. Because we don't know our religious liberty, we have a lot of chaos when it comes to civil liberty. We have a organization called the American Civil Liberties Union. They're filing lawsuits all over the place about our civil rights have been violated. And you have people saying, you know, I've got the right to do this and I've got the right to do that. And yet when it comes to religious liberty, you don't hear hardly anything about the importance of that aspect. And a lot of times if you bring it up in a court of law, you'll be thrown out. And it is a matter of reality. Just a week or so ago, there was a United States House of Representatives committee meeting who one of the congressmen brought up some things about religious liberty and how religious liberty is being trampled on by a certain bill that was under consideration. And the head of the committee, a man named Jerry Nadler, he slammed down on the gavel and told the other representatives, said, morality has no place in this committee. And you see this statue right here is dedicated to just that one thing. So in order for us to understand this matrix, we've got to understand, to start with, what was it that the people that built this said about why they were building it. It was designed by Hammett Billings. Hammett Billings was one of the most famous Christian architects, sculptors, and illustrators in the 1850s. He's the guy that illustrated one of his most known works is he illustrated Uncle Tom's Cabin, which was very instrumental in the freeing of slaves as a result of the American Civil War. But anyway, in 1824, this statue and this whole thing with Plymouth was beginning to take shape. They built the Pilgrim Museum first, and the first donation for this thing came in 1794 under the administration of President George Washington. So, but it took until 1889 before it actually came to pass. So 95 years. Anyway, at the dedication of the Pilgrim Museum, it says, "We come in our prosperity to remember your trials," the trials of the original pilgrims. "And here on this spot where New England began to be, we come to learn of our Pilgrim Fathers a deep and lasting lesson of virtue, enterprise, patience, zeal, and faith." So we're here to learn from our Pilgrim Fathers a deep and lasting lesson of virtue, enterprise, patience, zeal, and faith. In 1859, when they laid the first cornerstone for this, it was said, "Out of their trials and sorrows, we pluck prosperity and happiness. From their oppression springs our freedom. It is for this we bid the monumental shaft rise to heaven. It is for this we are assembled by thousands to cheer on the work and implore the blessings of heaven upon its progress and its completion." And then a number of years later, well, in 1820, when they were laying the cornerstone for the Pilgrim Museum, Pilgrim Hall, which is now the Pilgrim Museum, Daniel Webster, the great defender of the Constitution is what he was called, he had this to say: "Let us not forget the religious character of our origin. Our fathers were brought hither by their high veneration of the Christian religion. They journeyed by its light and labored in its hope. They sought to incorporate its principles with the elements of their society and to diffuse its influence through all their institutions, civil, political, and literary." And like I said before, they believed that religious liberty preceded civil liberty. So now we are going to look at faith.